Be the Chief. To be in it, you must be about it. Foreword. Quote, the sailor entering the Navy today has a higher education, is more inquisitive, and is looking for better and more efficient ways of completing tasks. They also ask why a job must be completed. This in turn leads to more creative thinking on the leader's part. We must depart from the old adage, it's always been done that way, so why change now? End quote. So true, right? That quote, one of my favorites, is a spot-on reflection of today's sailor. Yet, it is also 100% accurate in its original context, which was then Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy, Delbert Black, describing new sailors in an article that appeared in a 1969 issue of Proceedings magazine. Yep, 54 years ago, the U.S. Navy Chiefs were already working on ways to foster and develop the country's next hungry, ambitious generation. The Chief Petty Officer Mess, the most storied group of leaders in any professional organization since 1893, has been leading, coaching, and mentoring at the deck plate level both up and down the ranks. The results don't lie. For more than 120 years, the frontline leaders in what is undisputedly the world's top premier combat force have not only led and raised youthful sailors, they continue to pass down wisdom, information, and lessons learned to those who are donning their khaki caps for the first time. You may have heard of this tradition as paying it forward, or to be known perhaps as initiation or chief season. But while this is part of the process, it's only one small sample of the greater effort. The rest of it occurs 24/7 and in formats like this one. In this particular situation, you have a Navy Master Chief, me, chronicling lessons in an attempt to set my successors up for hopefully a small win or two they may otherwise have not enjoyed. If you're a chief, you're used to this. Everything you have in the Navy happened because of either a chief's influence on you or another chief's leadership or influence on an officer or other frontline leader who put time and effort into you. I am simply applying a bullhorn to this process. Why me? Why now? For one, I am turning over and transferring to my next command, and instead of providing one turnover document to one person, my relief, I'm offering a ton of my lessons learned to all my mess, and most definitely the greater mess, and really, anyone aspiring to be a chief. Until this rank, a Master Chief trying to effectively communicate these lessons would have been nearly impossible. There's just too much a Master Chief sees that enhances and contextualizes these lessons. Now, approaching my final years in the Navy, I feel like the time is right to push all these forward. The Chief's mess simply can't continue to function effectively as the Navy's backbone if we aren't putting pen to paper and trying to support each other as best as possible at every opportunity. 6 weeks of annual training as initiation is not going to cut it in the long term. We owe more. Officers run the Navy, and they are constantly working and developing to try to run things smoother. Well, the Chiefs make the Navy run. We are the doers, and that's why you're reading this. Per our Chief Petty Officer Creed, we are tasked to pass down all the leadership goodness, know-how, and stick-to-itiveness we learned through the decades. No, really, it's right in there. Quote, it is required that you be the fountain of wisdom, the ambassador of goodwill, the authority in personal relations, as well as technical applications. You are the chief. The exalted position you have achieved exists because of the service, character, and performance of the chiefs before you. It shall exist only as long as you and your fellow chiefs maintain these standards. That's our marching order. Every chief must understand and accept that the sole reason being the chief means what it does is because of the service, character, and performance of the chiefs before you. Think about this. You won't find anything like this on the civilian side. There's no example of an accountant stepping into H&R Block and being told, you are the tax master because of the service and character of every tax master who came before you. My great-granny used an abacus to do taxes, goddammit. It's not a thing. But in the Navy, this is a thing, and it's our thing. So while I'm an active Master Chief, and while I am of still healthy and relatively sound but maybe salty mind, I'm taking a moment to give back into the system, and for anybody, not just the Chief's mess, for which I've been a part for so long. This guide is not a book of scientific facts or authoritative doctrine. In fact, I've omitted almost any doctrinal references because doctrine and instruction change so often. If you can't quickly read and learn doctrine and instruction, then this guide is not what has been holding back your progression. It is, however, a collection of stuffs I've learned which made me a better leader of better utility to many of my colleagues. Just consider it one person's mental whiteboard of stuff worth trying. If these approaches work for me, I have no doubt they will work for you, especially since you're still listening. Remember, you don't go up in leadership. You grow up. And hopefully, some of this will challenge you to do so. Full disclosure, I am a 6-year chief. I am a 10-year senior chief and a 14-year master chief. Your reaction to that is going to land somewhere between, wow, that's messed up that people can promote that fast, or, whoa, this person obviously doesn't play around and maybe knows a thing or two I can benefit from. So, just a spoiler, we're going to talk a lot about these kinds of assumptions and biases throughout these pages. Almost none of the techniques, approaches, or suggestions in this guide were created or invented by me. I've included as many sources and credits as I can recall in the back, including some mentors. They imparted a lot of knowledge to me, and I will always remind that we are all indeed products of those who came before us and those before them. Also, this is not a handbook of advancement hacks or cheat codes. If getting promoted is your top goal, this is not the place for you. If you try what's in here, you will increase your chances to be successful as a chief. But I can't promise you advancement. That's beyond my control, and hey, you can be somebody, or you can do some things. This is a guide for people who want to do some things. The Navy is full of good chiefs. But to win the next war, we're going to need more great chiefs. We need you to be the chief. That's what these lessons are all about. Take all those lazy monikers you're familiar with and bury them. There are no boot chiefs. There is no world's okayest chief. There is no fake it till you make it about a chief. To be valuable in the chief's mess, you need to be about the mess. You need to be 100% bought in. To win in the coming fight, you need to be the chief your people tell stories about. You need to be the my first chief who starts the story told by every successful officer. To be great at anything, you need to build processes which result in long-term sustained life success. Now, this runs counter to the quick win mindset of corporate culture, and it's a lesson I learned very early in my career. As a new arrival to my first command, my chief provided me a training pipeline, and part of that roadmap included a handful of virtual courses I was to complete as I found the time. Well, as a new and ambitious sailor looking to make an impact, Seaman Patton brought the pipeline back to his chief the next week with almost all of the courses completed. Proud of myself, I was surprised when my chief said, "Shipmate, this isn't some test to see how fast you can finish these. This is a process to build you into a good sailor. I know how long these courses should take and what you should get from them. Did you even learn anything from these in that amount of time?" Well, it turns out my first chief was a great chief. I checked into boot camp at age 30, bringing in with me 14 years of a civilian career. The chief wanted me to see the difference between how the Navy operates versus the instant gratification I was used to in the corporate world. You know, too many of us want to be the lion chewing the meat without taking the time to hone the techniques that make a great hunter. What techniques should a chief focus on? Well, I divided this book into topics chiefs told me they need help with. The table of contents is what it is, and there's no snappy military acronym for that chunk of words, and certainly no easy street to application. But if you're ready to seize the opportunity, if you're ready to be about it, it's right here for you.